So the Warriors are officially trading for Dennis Schroder, which is a very, very big move for this Warriors team. Kind of came out of nowhere as well. Shams tweeted like 40 minutes ago as I record this video that the Warriors were trying to trade for Dennis Schroder. And then like 30 minutes later, a report comes out that they have finalized a deal for Schroder and 1 second-round pick to go to the Warriors in exchange for D'Anthony Melton, who's out for the season with a torn ACL, and 3 second-round picks. I think this is a really, really good deal for the Warriors. In total, they're basically losing 2 second-round picks when it comes to this season. Anyway, they do lose obviously D'Anthony Melton as well, but the addition of Schroeder for this season and beyond is a very, very, very big deal, and something that I think is going to extend the championship window or improve the championship window for this Warriors team. Because at this point, the idea here is to add more on-ball creation so that Steph has less of a important, or I guess less weight on his shoulders when it comes to that shot creation. And I think this is the type of move that doesn't really give up a lot of assets, but helps improve that and makes this roster better. Gives them a real backup point guard as well, which is something that this roster honestly is pretty much lacking at this point, especially with how poorly Brandon Podziemski has played this season. And I'm really excited to get into this and start discussing what this looks like for the Warriors. So before we hop into it, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 2,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I'm uploading NBA content multiple times a day. Every single day. Would really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. If I look a little sweaty, sound a little out of breath, anything like that, I just finished running with my dog. We were running around when I saw this trade, and I was like, oh my, I need to make a video on this. So definitely decided to do that here. And yeah, we're going to talk about it in this video. So first things first, the Warriors as of right now are the 5 seed in the West. They are 5 games back of the 1 seed. They have no chance at the 1 seed. The Thunder are the best team in the West. But the goal for the Warriors right now, I would assume, is to be a top 4 seed in the West, get home court advantage in the first round, and give themselves a chance to be a championship contender. This roster has been very solid for the season, about almost a 5 net rating, but they are only 3-7 in their last 10 games. They have definitely been struggling as of late, and I think this is the type of deal that really helps this team a lot. Let me see, he's not listed on the roster yet, is he? Okay, D'Anthony Melton is still listed on the roster, so I need to go find the Nets roster actually, because I want to look at the contract details for Dennis Schroder, and I haven't actually looked at them yet. So I do want to come in here and look at Schroeder's contract and see what that is looking like. I guess I could probably just Google it, but I really want to see what Schroeder is looking like for the season. So far this season, by the way, he's averaging 18 points, 3 rebounds, 6.5 assists, having a really good all-around year, shooting 45% from the field, about almost 39% from 3. He shot over 40% from 3 last year as well. He's a much better, much more reliable 3-point shooter than he used to be earlier in his career. I really think Dennis Schroder has turned into he was always a good NBA player, but he's turned into a great NBA player, a very valuable guy. He was awesome in the Olympics this summer for Germany. I think he's had an incredible last couple seasons and is the type of guy who can come in and be a big addition to a playoff team, because he can play 18 minutes. He can play 30-something minutes. He's probably going to play next to Steph sometimes in closing lineups, I would think, if the matchups work out right defensively, because it gives the Warriors another offensive option who can create a shot with the ball in his hands, create shots for his teammates, take less of the responsibility off of Steph's shoulders, and overall just really help this Warriors team to be a lot better as the season progresses. So I am going to look up his contract details as well real quickly, but y'all let me know in the comment section down below what y'all think of this deal. Do y'all think this is a big altering deal for the Warriors, or do you think it doesn't do much? I really would be interested to hear what y'all's thoughts are on this contract. Is he an expiring? Oh, he is an expiring. He's an unrestricted free agent next year. So this is an expiring contract as well, which honestly isn't a bad thing, because it means that the Warriors, if things don't go well, aren't tied to Dennis Schroder for next season, but he's only making about $13 million a year is what it looked like right there. So I would say overall, this is actually a very solid contract for the Warriors. This is a deal that doesn't really mess with their cap issues or implications whatsoever. I really do think this is the perfect fringe deal that the Warriors could make, because they still have the flexibility to make a bigger move if they want to make a move for a star. Now, I would have liked to see them try to get Cam Johnson in this deal as well. I'm sure they asked around. I'm sure the Nets probably asking price for Cam Johnson was higher than what the Warriors were willing to pay, and that's understandable. Cam Johnson has had an incredible year. But I do think that this trade really changes things for the Warriors, because Schroeder, I think, immediately is the second best shot creation option on this team, and he's one of the best scorers on this team as well. I do think he can actually play next to Steph. Now, does the 2 small guard backcourt there limit this team a lot? At times, yes, probably. But this is a great way to replace De'Anthony Melton now, not replacing him with the same level of player or same. Not, I think Schroeder might actually be a better player than De'Anthony Melton. It replaces them with a similar level of player, but it's not the same style of player, but it is a style of player that the Warriors are in desperate need of. Again, especially because of Brandon Podziemski's struggles this year. And honestly, Brandon Podziemski, the Warriors have to be kicking themselves for that Podziemski trade. Because, or for the refusal, I should say, to include Podziemski in trade talks this summer, because they could have very easily probably gotten Lauri Markkanen, and it sounded like that was the holdup, was that they were unwilling to include Podziemski in the trade. And Podziemski has been terrible this year. He is shooting 25% from three. He's just not been all that good across the board. His assist to turnover ratio is 3.4 to 1.3, which isn't terrible, but as a whole, he has not been the player that they wanted him to be this year. I don't think they really consistently trust him as their backup point guard, and he has struggled a lot this year and seems to potentially not fit all that well with the Warriors culture stuff as well. There's been some videos and stuff that have come out recently that him looking like he's getting mad at his teammates, and just like, there's some issues there with Brandon Podziemski, and I think this is a deal that also helps mitigate the issues that could come from that, and it creates Podziemski as more of a trade piece if there is another team that thinks that he can regain his form from last season and become a future potential star, or I guess consistent starter for another franchise. I think they will be now more likely to include Podziemski plus Wiggins or Kuminga, or a conglomeration of those guys plus maybe a couple of other assets to make a deal for a star player. In fact, I have a video that I already recorded going live tomorrow talking about Jimmy Butler and trading him to the Warriors. Now, I don't really know what the cap implications of this trade are in terms of how that would affect a Warriors trade with the Heat, but that was already a very tight trade. Now, a lot of people out in league circles do seem to be talking about that the Warriors are actually the most likely destination for Jimmy Butler. I don't think this trade screws that up, is what I'm saying, because I don't think the cap implications are really going to change the Warriors situation all that much, and so it's still going to be a tough trade to facilitate for the Warriors, but I do think that here's the thing. This adds another good player to their rotation for this season. De'Anthony Melton's out for the year. They just added another good player to the rotation. They can now, probably more so, afford to aggregate contracts and do a 2-for-1, 3-for-1 trade for another player, because they now just added another important, consistent, quality player that we can know, that we can trust, even in playoff minutes. That's a huge, huge deal for this Warriors team. And I think that might be the best part about this trade, is that it actually opens the door for more future flexibility with future trades. So obviously, I'm recording this video very much off the top of my head. If I messed up anything I said, I do apologize. But I hope y'all understand my thought process on this Warriors trade, and let me know what y'all think about this trade, because it may not be a league-altering move, but it's definitely a big deal that I think helps the Warriors a lot for this season, and definitely puts them more in the mix for Western Conference contention. With that being said, that's going to do it for the video. Hope y'all did enjoy. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more NBA content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.